All right, this video is an oldie but goodie because what you have here in one nice compact little video package is a man who knows not only natural rights, but also the policy enforcers' laws and the Constitution. And these three, contrary to popular belief, are not the same. You got natural law, you got law enforcement, which are just the policy enforcer rules that are handed down from the politicians and enacted by armed enforcers, and you've got the Constitution. These three aren't the same. As a matter of fact, they're diametrically opposed to natural rights. And when you get down, I mean, if you want to take it in the order of legitimacy, you would have natural law above all things. We all know that it's wrong to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. We all know that no one has a higher claim over your life and property than you. We all know that we should act accordingly and according to the golden rule: do to others what you would want done to you. Don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. And we know that the Constitution and law enforcer policies violate that from the word go. So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to jump right into it. Of course, this is Paul Enslaved. I've dealt with this particular video before, but I felt like it was important to bring it to the forefront again. Let's take a listen.
The law of the land and universal law applies to men. You swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, not to uphold policy and procedure over the Constitution. Legislation does not make law for men and women. They make policy and procedure for the citizens.
If you carry a firearm openly in this city, you will be charged.
You're carrying a firearm openly in the city? You're carrying a firearm openly in the city. So you have more rights and abilities than the men and women who pay for your job and who you serve.
And that right there is called a sovereign citizen. They're the ones who always make the accusations on us that we're sovereign citizens when they themselves operate even above their own laws, which makes them, in practice, the sovereign citizens they're claiming we are.
Are you going to ask me that stupid question?
It's a perfectly logical question. You have weapons. You just said it's against the law.
So we're given certain rights. We were given certain authority.
Oh, I thought you were given duties, obligations, and responsibilities, but according to you, agent and agency's given rights. Tell me more. They're saying on record, we need to get their dereliction of duty in line because they're saying policy overrides the law of the land. That's an issue.
Did you get his name?
The law of the land is freedom from search and seizure to access to people's property. This is men and the Constitution, sir, the thing you swore to uphold, the Fourth Amendment, sir.
So then say the Constitution. Don't say the law of the land.
The Constitution is the law of the land, sir.
It's supposed to be synonymous, and they should have learned that in the academy. Oh, by the way, guys, the law of the land is the Constitution. When you say the Constitution, you say the law of the land. When you say the law of the land, you're saying the Constitution. They're synonymous terms, but these cops don't understand that because they're not taught that. If they were at least sensitized to the Fourth Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the First Amendment, we would have a much better way to go in life.
The Constitution and Declaration of Independence are the law of this land that are backed by the Supreme Court. They uphold God's law, sir.
Can I tell you something that I'm observing?
I didn't ask you for what you observed, sir. You already gave me an attitude and ego. This man has been respectful, honest, open.
I want to explain to you why I have that.
I don't need you to explain to me anything. Your explaining is enough, sir. I don't need you to explain to me. You're talking down to me. I can combine whatever I want because I'm a man. I'm fluid and dynamic. I'm not bound by the words of other men in this realm, sir. You're not my God, sir. You want to be. You desperately want to use your firearms and backup to dictate what I will do and won't do based on what other men wrote down. I don't follow the dictates of other men and women in this realm, sir. I have a conscience connected to the Most High.
Can I ask you guys a question? You guys armed? You guys armed?
Even if we were armed, sir, it's lawful to be armed.
That's fine.
You know, this is America. We do have a Second Amendment right. And these individuals want to search us, right? Unlawful search and seizure in order to access a courthouse that everyone pays for. They are public servants and they are armed. So when did public servants get more rights and abilities than the men and women they serve is kind of my question.
Okay. But can you guys answer me this question? Are you guys armed? No? Are you?
I don't answer questions, sir. And like I said, even if I was armed, it's completely lawful to be armed, just like you gentlemen are armed in a public service capacity.
You guys are entering a building, okay, especially a private entity like this.
It's not a private entity.
Okay, well, there's security points. You guys want to go in.
So are you saying this is a private building?
There's no law that states that. Show me the law.
Are you saying this?
They don't even know the basics. What is the difference, officer, between public and private? There is a difference, or you would just have one word instead of two words. There's a vast difference between a private entity, a private company, and a public company, or well, actually, it is a corporation. If you look at Title 28, Section 300215A, the United States is a federal corporation. But there's a vast difference between private and public, and these people do not know the fundamental difference between those two words.
It's a private building. That's policy, sir. That's not law. Are you saying this is a private building? Because we have a federal lawsuit that's...
You still have to
No, we
abide by
don't.
their policy.
And who says that? Where does that...
Person, not man and
You got a
woman.
sign up there?
Not man and
Where
woman.
does that come from, sir? Where does the delegation of authority come from, sir? The city of Denver is... The city of Denver is paid for...
The city of Denver, okay?
The city of Denver is a what?
You need to learn something.
You need to learn the difference between lawful and legal. There's a
So do
difference.
you.
I know the difference.
Okay, so
That's a legal procedure, sir.
don't go in
Why?
the building.
Why?
Don't go in the building.
So we can't access our courthouse following the law?
That building belongs to the
As
people.
long as you go along with the rules.
No.
If not, you can't just go in there and do whatever you want.
So rules outrank the...
Try it and see what happens.
I will. I'll be here tomorrow. You want to
Whatever
be
you
here?
want. That's
I'll
up
be
to
here
you.
at 10 o'clock.
I just have one question.
Wait
I
for
just
me.
have one question.
Wait,
So
I'm
rules
gonna come in here
outrank
and
the
use
law of the land, sir? Is that what you're saying?
Policy is according to the
So
building.
policy outranks the law of the
Security
land.
Policy.
This building is paid for by the men and women of
what I
this
said?
building.
Did you hear
I
what
heard
I
what
said?
you said, but it's unlawful, sir.
Can we just have a conversation?
We could if this man would check his ego.
You guys are screaming. Let's just calm it down.
Because he's talking over me, sir. He's got a point to prove. He's not interested in the truth and the law of the land. He's interested in policy enforcement.
And besides that, how can you just calm it down when this guy clearly is violating his own rules and laws and ordinances and policies by issuing edicts that are far beyond what he's supposed to be there for? See, what people don't understand is the cops will constantly violate their own rules and ordinances and policies so that they can force you to do things that if you just interacted with a regular member of the public who wasn't wearing a costume or a clown suit would be viewed as criminal activity. You've got harassment. You've got forcing people to do something against their will and without their consent. You have the deprivation of rights. They're going out on a limb to deprive these men of their rights under color of policy, under color of law, under color of what they think takes priority and precedence over reality.
Policy is not law, right? Legal and lawful.
You know more than that, right?
Yeah, I do.
I don't believe so.
You don't know the law.
What makes you think that you would know more? Because you've done a policy enforcement job for X amount of years. Have you ever actually hit the books and looked at the difference between legal and lawful?
Makes sense when you're talking.
I don't make sense when I'm talking. That's interesting because I have a 30-year sergeant over in that courthouse and another 30-year sergeant, another one who said, thank you for doing the work you're doing. You're getting the other public servants together. So it's interesting how, prove it. I have it on video, sir. Would you like, I'll give you my YouTube channel. You can check it out. Of course you don't watch YouTube because you're probably watching television. So, oh, fake news. Give us more about your bias.
Sergeant Smith. Go check him out.
So what is real news, sir? Tell us for the camera, what is real news, sir?
Ask them what they think about us.
This is incredible.
What kind of man they think we are. No, it's not.
Just like YouTube is fake news is a personal opinion.
We're seeing it from observation of how our behavior is.
That's a personal opinion.
So would you like to see the Supreme Court decisions? Would you like to see
Your
the...
idea of what's legal and lawful is a personal opinion.
Would you...
Yes, it is. What's it based on?
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
They don't care. They don't even care about their own laws. They don't care about the Supreme Court. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't even care about their own policies. They just want you to obey. They want you to comply. Their drug of choice is your compliance. It's like we constantly say in this community is that give me your ID, show me your papers is like crack to a policy enforcer.
Would you like to see the Supreme Court decision saying statutes, policies, and codes are not laws? I have about 10 of them.
No.
Of course not, because you're not interested in the truth. You're not interested in the law of the land. You're interested in this. Another paycheck, right?
Right.
Yeah, he just nodded. He just nodded on
That's
camera.
right.
He cares more about mammon than he does about universal law and the law of the land.
Okay, so part of the problem is that you guys walked past security and you didn't go through the proper screening.
So where's
No,
the-
that's not part of the problem. The whole problem is you guys don't care about your oath. You guys are acting as garbage human beings. You guys are trying to impose and enforce your will on people who do not want to comply and don't go along with your delusion.
law that says we have
So
to do
if
that?
you listen, just listen to me, okay?
Sure, we're listening,
So
sir.
if you don't abide by the security procedures of the building, you can't enter the building.
And that's why we have a federal lawsuit in the United States District Court.
That's great, but the whole thing is that you have to go through the proper channels. So if you have a federal lawsuit, wait till the lawsuit gets...
Well, we still have another matter now that was engaged as of a couple weeks ago from a separate incident. So now we're here to attain the facts and the evidence from where we were told to go, right? So again, policy, procedure, and code statute does not override the law of the land. It is for legal persons who identify as citizens. I am not a citizen in the capacity right now. I am a man, what you are looking at. The law of the land and universal law applies to men. You swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, not to uphold policy and procedure over the Constitution. So it's very simple. They have rules in place that apply to people. Consent to the governed as per the Declaration of Independence. I do not consent to be governed by people who think they have more rights and abilities than the individuals they serve.
Well, okay.
How can you even say it any better? The articulation coming out of this guy toward this policy enforcer, things that this guy has never heard, has probably never considered, and now that he has heard them, he doesn't want to consider them, and he doesn't care about them. That's how hard-hearted and conscience-seared you are when you put on a uniform with a badge and a utility belt and come with the authority of the state.
That right there, that statement, there's laws that are put in place, okay?
By who?
It's just... by the citizens.
By the citizens.
Yeah, by the citizens.
So citizens make law.
Legislation, yes, makes law.
Legislation.
Legislators make law.
No, legislators make law.
Actually, no, God makes law and legislators interpret the law.
You have to follow the policies and the procedures that are put in place.
Can I have your name, please, sir?
You cannot open carry in the city and county of Denver, right?
Because it's, yeah, because...
Well, you can. If you get open carry, you cannot open carry here. You will get charged.
Yeah, you'll be...
So what did he just say? He just said, I do not recognize the Second Amendment that I swore to uphold, protect, and defend. And if I see you acting in accordance with the Second Amendment, I'm going to charge you. If you resist the charge, then I'm going to put my hands on you and put cuffs on you and kidnap you and throw you into a rape cage, because I don't care about anything else other than imposing my will and satisfying and pleasing my commanding officers. That's it.
Charge, but then when we take you to federal court, you'll have to explain how you've overthrown United States law of the land.
You have the right to carry a firearm, but it has to be concealed.
And who made that law?
You have to do it with the CCW
legislation. And legislation does not make law for men and women. They make policy and procedure for the citizens.
If you carry a firearm open...
Exactly. Legislation does not make law for men and women, but it creates policy and procedures for citizens who decide, hey, I want to be governed. I want to be ruled. I want to be controlled against my will. Although that's really weird, saying I want to be controlled against my will. Well, if it's against your will, then you wouldn't consent to it. It's all this convoluted bunch of legislative garbage.
In this city, you will be charged.
You're carrying a firearm openly in the city? You're carrying a firearm openly in the city? So you have more rights and abilities than the men and women who pay for your job and who you serve.
Are you going to ask me that stupid question?
It's a perfectly logical question. You have weapons. You just said it's against the law.
So we're given certain rights. We were given certain authority.
Oh, I thought you were given duties, obligations, and responsibilities. But according to you, agent and agency's given rights. Tell me more.
Why are we arguing about this?
Look at this guy's face. He's getting slammed by somebody who's mentally superior to him, who can actually think outside the box, who's not a conformist, doing what he's told regardless of what is right. He is standing in front of a man who does what is right regardless of what he's told, because he is a man and he stands on natural law and he doesn't waver and he's not filled with hypocrisy and contradiction.
You don't know what you're talking about, sir. Of course, because no... Sir, if we could get together on personal time, I could show you what I'm trying to talk about. My goal is to have the law upheld rather than policy, procedures, statutes, and codes. To enforce policy, clearly, because you just told us you can have weapons and we can't when we're the men and women protected by the Second Amendment.
This is one of the best confrontations of law enforcement officers I think I've ever seen. You talk about a complete dragging through the mud of the facade of law enforcement and legislation and legalese and legality versus illegality, which is a total construct of the mind. Here you have it all in one video.
Carry in the city and county of Denver, you will...
The Second Amendment doesn't say open carry, concealed carry. It says a right to bear arms. The same way you're bearing arms. You don't have more rights than the...
written into law in this city.
You don't have more rights than the men and women who pay for you to work, who you serve. It's very simple. Very simple logic. I know that ego has gotten out of hand because everybody thinks they're here to dominate and control. I'm here because
making money on YouTube, right?
Let's just say that I was. The reason I'm here making money on YouTube is because you won't uphold the rights of the country. You won't uphold the law of the land, sir.
Prevent my case number, my ID. I fill out the form, then they email.
Now we're trespassing on public property. That's interesting. Did the owner tell us to leave?
Case against me.
Of course not. The owner's the men and women who pay for the property. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Trespassing means you were asked to leave by the owner of the building.
Could you stop talking for a second?
Sorry. The city and county of Denver is a what, not a who, sir.
Okay. You hear what I said?
It's a what, not a who.
What kind of, you're saying that.
Well, where's the city and county of Denver? I want them to come here and ask me to leave. Are they going to ask me to leave?
That's what we're here for.
Oh, so you're here representing the city and county of Denver. Okay. Well, the city and county is a what. It's paid for by who? The who would be me. Right. But you're in public service capacity. You've lost your rights for duties and obligations. Yes, you need to read the regulations. I'll prove it to you with the Supreme Court decisions that you refuse to look at. Maybe you'll find it on MSNBC or Fox News, sir, since YouTube is fake news.
Whatever makes you money, right?
Sure, whatever. Well, no, you're here making money upholding policy over the law. I'm here upholding the law over policy.
I know you're game.
You don't even know me, sir, so you've made a preconceived determination about who and what.
He knows Paul Enslave's game, but he doesn't know his own rules, ordinances, and policies that he's supposed to be there to uphold. Incredible.
I am because you're biased, sir. You're not able to think for yourself and to come to an accurate determination of what's taking place. You're biased.
I think that you know what you would really be good at?
Well,
filibustering.
Filibustering.
Yeah.
Is that with an R?
Do you know what that is?
Is that with an R?
Filibuster.
Filibustering.
Oh, okay, filibuster. Why don't you tell me what it is? Why don't you tell me what it is? Look it up. So you don't know what it is. You must have heard that on Fox News or MSNBC.
Because you sound like you're an educated man.
You must. I educated? Maybe.
Look it up then.
I know what filibuster means, sir. It's not applicable to this interaction. This is not a political interaction, sir. This is not a debate. You're incorrect. I have the laws, the case law, the Supreme Court decisions. I even have your code on file as far as what it says and what it determines. You have not read it because you don't care. As you said, you're not interested in hearing the Supreme Court decisions.
I'm not interested in hearing your filibuster.
No, you're not interested in upholding the law of the
Said it
land,
again.
sir. You're interested in upholding policy for a check.
You're just talking without facts.
You're interested in upholding policy, code, and procedure for a check. You're like you projected onto me. You're just here for the money, sir.
You don't have facts, or you'd have them with you right now.
You're just here for the money, sir. Well, I need to have the facts for you to know the law. That's interesting. Well, would you like to give me your information and I will send you the facts? No answer now, you see. We pretend to feign like we care, but really, as long as they're cutting your check and you feel like you're not accountable, you don't care.
You talk over me. You don't even listen. You can't have it.
Would you like the facts? You asked for the facts. Would you like them?
I want them right here, right now.
Right here, right now. So
Why
if...
don't you carry it with you?
I guess it was my mistake this time to not carry him with me. But maybe you're right, sir. Maybe going forward I should be more prepared so that I can give you exactly what you need to learn your job that you don't seem to know how to do. So you're right. I should be more prepared to educate and train men and women who are acting as officers who don't know their job. You're absolutely correct, sir.
And that would be a good idea to carry maybe slips of paper with Supreme Court cases, maybe the Second Amendment, maybe the Fourth Amendment, maybe a copy of their sworn oath to protect and defend the Constitution. But even then, you know that when they have the facts in their hands and they're looking at it, they will not acknowledge it. They will not come to the truth. And why won't they come to the truth? Because their paycheck depends on them not coming to an understanding of and an application of the truth.
Yeah, and typically what happens is when you get there, they'll be like, this is Exhibit A. So they're going to present that when they get there. So they might not even have...
So everybody's guilty till proven innocent, right?
No, I don't know. But that doesn't... I can't speak for anybody else.
We're not guilty till proven innocent, sir.
But I usually have a firearm. So almost all the time. Okay, so
Now you know the nonsense.
so why is it...
Because I want to exercise my right to get discovered.
And you can exercise your right, but you got to go through the proper...
You can exercise your rights by giving up your rights. That's what he says.
And when you go into a federal or state building, that's exactly what you do. when you go through that, before you go through that screening, you got to empty your pockets. You got to make sure that you're not armed. You got to put your cell phone in there. They make sure that you are violated. They violate your Fourth Amendment right to be secure in your person. They violate your Second Amendment right because you can't keep and bear arms in there. It's literally a Constitution-free zone in state and federal buildings.
Okay.
My right.
So when you
enter,
Which automatically, you couldn't work there because you were actually there to deprive people of their rights, which is absolutely wrong. So anybody who works in a state or federal building who is forcing the people, men and women, flesh and blood human beings, to strip themselves of their rights or make sure that they're stripped of their rights, are actually doing that which is wrong. To strip a right is wrong.
Okay, so when you go and you get on a plane,
A plane is a private commercial airline, sir.
the airport's
It's a commercial airline, sir.
the airport's
It's not an applicable. It's not.
for
It's still an overthrow of constitutional law, if you want to be honest, because the public service accommodation does not have a right to overthrow law for policy and procedure. This is all Supreme Court rules, so I don't mean to elevate my voice. I'm just very passionate.
Do you understand that Supreme Court rulings, they work, and the way that you challenge them is in court? That you don't do it in a place like this.
No, the Supreme Court is being challenged here by everyone here. We're upholding the Supreme Court decisions. Everyone
That's
here.
hilarious. The way it works is if you disagree with it, then you go in there and you hash it out. It's like, no. They already laid down the law that you're supposed to be enforcing, and you're violating the law that you're saying that you're upholding. It's just convoluted, crazy nonsense.
Is challenging them by not following them. Supreme Court decisions
So
are.
where does the Supreme Court say that you don't have to go through the building's procedures?
Like I said to this man, you seem like you actually care about the law. If you give me your information, I will send you about 10 or 20 Supreme Court decisions saying statutes, policies, and codes are not laws. They are only for agent and agency, and that only natural law applies to man. That's why the Constitution is codified.
Do you understand how this is going to get challenged, right?
I don't know what that means, sir.
So the way that this is going to get challenged is that you guys are going to get arrested, and then it's going to have to go back.
That's the way it always happens, sir.
And then is that something that you guys want to go through?
In other words, we're the agents. We're the arresting agents. We're the ones. I'm standing here telling you, free man, telling you, Paul Unslaved, that I'm going to violate your rights, take away 100% of your rights, kidnap you, and throw you into a rape cage because you are upholding a law that I disagree with.
It's not something we want to go through. It's something you all want to continue to uphold when I have all the evidence, facts, and case law and the federal lawsuit to show that you guys are out of bounds.
Well, that's
it's
fine,
that simple.
You're going to get arrested, and then you're going to have to...
Sir, that's officer discretion. If you believe that policy, procedure, and code overwrites the law of the land and God's law, well, then you will have to sit on the right side or wrong side of history of what you believe.
Sir,
So you think I should wear a mask too, right? Like they arrested me last week for not wearing a mask, and next is vaccination, and next is I lose all my rights. I'm not buying it, sir.
I don't care about masks or vaccinations.
Well, yeah, but you will soon when it becomes the law.
they make you do it. Are you going to do it?
No.
So then they'll
I'm
make
not-
you.
I'm not getting vaccinated.
So they'll make you they'll fire you.
Then I'll get fired.
Okay, well then you're a man of principle.
But I'm just saying, it's real easy.
It's not easy.
It is.
Because I'm giving up my rights.
No, it's not. To go through
You want to give
screening.
up your rights?
To go through screening.
You're
is
a
gonna-
man, right?
How is-
Underneath the uniform, you're a man, right?
How is going
Would
through?
do you want to give up your rights?
How is going through a building screening giving up your rights?
It's a search and seizure, sir.
No, it's not.
It's a form of search, sir. You're searching for weapons. You're searching for weapons.
We're searching you. We're making sure you're not armed, but it's not search and seizure. Wait a minute. Yes, it is.
It's lawful to have weapons, sir. We all have a right to bear arms, sir. You're trying to override
You
procedure
have the right to bear arms, but if it's posted on a building, you cannot bear arms.
in a private building. This is not a private building. This is
You cannot bear arms.
you can bear arms in Walmart, sir, because
Shall not be infringed unless it's posted. This is why it's dangerous to be right when the government is so wrong.
Walmart is accessible to the public, even though it's a privately owned business. It's publicly accessible. Their policy
If it's posted on the door, you cannot bear arms.
cannot overwrite the law of the land, sir. They're subject to federal lawsuit.
No, if it's posted on the building, you cannot. You can't come in my house with a gun if I tell you.
Your house is private property, sir.
Walmart's
It's not
private
public. No, it's not. It's privately owned. It's a public accommodation under the UCC, sir. This is another misunderstanding that the majority of people have.
I've arrested people before.
Privately owned public accommodation. Interesting.
I'm sure you have because
And it went through. It didn't go to the Supreme Court.
Because they didn't take it there. Because they didn't take it there, sir. The majority of people don't have an understanding of the difference between policy, statutes, and codes and the law of the land, which is codified in the Constitution and upheld by the federal courts. These are municipal courts. They're dictatorial. They're advisory based on the consent of the governed.
So this is.
And I appreciate you having this dialogue because it shows that you care and you are a real man, unlike some other individuals we have here.
We do have the Constitution, and that gives us a broad spectrum of
Sure.
how the country's supposed to be.
And everything is pursuant to that,
That's
right?
the law of the land.
No, wait. States have the right to govern themselves.
Yeah, that's just such
Do you want the federal government to control absolutely everything that you do?
No, and I also don't want state government.
States aren't a themselves. A state is an it. A person is a they or a them.
Governments either.
Then the states, they're not going against federal law. They're being more stringent. Okay?
That's going against
No,
federal
no,
law.
it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Sir, it's very simple.
It's
very simple.
Like Denver used to say that you can't carry a firearm in your vehicle that's loaded, right? That got challenged in the courts and it got overturned. It was deemed unconstitutional. You have the right to protect yourself, right? They didn't overturn. They didn't overturn that you can open carry in Denver.
Just because they didn't overturn it does not mean it's law, sir. This is all people's beliefs.
No,
This is
it
beliefs.
doesn't mean it's law.
None of it is legitimate, sir.
Policy and statute.
No, that's actually a law. That's I can charge you criminally for open carry.
Unlawful carry.
It's unlawful carry, so I can actually charge you criminally.
But isn't that against the Constitution?
No, it's not, because you have to lawfully go get a CCW. That's your right. You can carry a gun.
Have a right.
We're not telling.
So you're legislating
We're
rights.
not telling you.
You're telling me I have to pay for my right. Yeah.
He is telling you got to pay for your rights. You can't have your right unless you get a permit. You got to get a permission slip from the government before you can exercise a right. Wait a second. If it's a right that wasn't given, if it's unalienable, then it wasn't given and it can't be taken away. So why do I need to go purchase a permission slip from a fictional government entity so that I can exercise a right that I already have by the very fact that I was born into this world and I'm a human being?
To go and get a CCC.
Yeah, it's called commercial. No, but that's an agreement.
Do you have? Hey,
W-2, W-9 is a contract, sir. Men and women do not have to pay taxes. The first page of the code says taxation is voluntary, sir.
You have to pay. You have to pay to possess an automatic weapon. It's the same thing.
Do you have to pay to possess weapons?
To possess an automatic weapon, yes, I have to pay for a tax.
Because you're an agent and agency, and all statutes, policies, and codes only apply to agent and agency.
If it's owned by the department, yes. If it's owned personally, no. You have to pay it for.
Sir, it's private property. Anything we own that's proper to us is private property. And legislating.
That's been passed through the city and county. It's through the legislator. It actually is a law. I can charge you criminally for it.
But our rights do not come from there. That's where you don't. That's where you miss.
Rights come from God, sir.
No, they come from legislation.
No, they don't, sir. It says in the Constitution.
Okay, where does it say in the Bible that you have the right to possess a firearm?
I'm not quoting the Bible for where I get my laws. However, the Bible does say, trust in the system, however, don't sell your sword.
Okay, but you're telling me right now that it says in the Bible that you can carry a firearm. You keep telling me that we're going.
Sir, I'm a man. I have a right to defend myself with whatever means I believe to be necessary. Until you have reason to believe that I'm in the commission of a crime, I'm guilty till proven innocent.
Don't tell me the Bible says that.
I don't need the Bible to say that. My common sense and my conscience.
By God, and that you're a
Bible's not the word of God. That's your interpretation.
No, it's not.
I never said the Bible was the exact word of God. It's the word of prophets 200 years after a man who we have no historicity of.
I'm telling you right
That's what he
now.
brought up. I don't even know why you came over here, sir. We had a good conversation with this man.
Right now, you
Underneath that uniform is a man. Right. You have rights.
Right, but when you're in the uniform, you have more rights and abilities than the man you serve. He says yes. He says yes. He's so
He says we have less.
less. Well, yeah, you have duties, obligations, and responsibilities, and you're trying to project yours onto us. We don't have rights.
So
And with their lips, they say we have less rights. With their actions, they display that they have more rights than you.
we're an oath of to uphold the Constitution of the United States
Sure.
and the state of Colorado.
Sure, but one comes first and the other comes second. You're putting the cart before the horse, sir. Freedom from search and seizure, Fourth Amendment. Are you upholding that here today? No.
Am I
No.
searching you?
No. You want us to be searched to access the people's courthouse, which is, it's a right to bear arms. So it doesn't say, again, you refuse, you're indoctrinated, and you're bought into the cult.
You cannot take the gun into the courthouse.
Sure. Like I said, you have municipal revised statute, which is written by men week to week. I have hundreds of year old Supreme Court decisions that are current up until 1960. You're not interested in the truth.
Let's go to the federal courthouse and get the other business. Plus, I'm going to write up another thing about this woman right here, how she's trespassing upon my rights.
Well, you may as well get all these individuals' names, because they're saying right now on record.
Really trespassing.
No, they haven't, but they're saying on record we need to get their dereliction of duty in line, because they're saying policy overrides the law of the land. That's an issue.
Did you get his name?
The law of the land is freedom from search and seizure to access to people's property. This is men and the Constitution, sir, the thing you swore to uphold, the Fourth Amendment, sir.
So then say the Constitution. Don't say the law of the land.
The Constitution is the law of the land, sir.
The Constitution is the Constitution.
The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence are the law of this land that are backed by the Supreme Court. They uphold God's law, sir.
Can I tell you something that I'm observing?
I didn't ask you for what you observed, sir. You already gave me an attitude and ego. This man has been respectful, honest, open.
I want to explain to you why I have that.
I don't need you to explain to me anything. Your explaining is enough, sir. I don't need you to explain to me. You're talking.
Feel the deep urge to cop-splain to you. You got to understand where I'm coming from. You got to understand my side of the coin.
Talking down to me. I can combine whatever I want because I'm a man. I'm fluid and dynamic. I'm not bound by the words of other men in this realm, sir. You're not my God, sir.
I understand what.
You want to be. You desperately want to use your firearms and backup to dictate what I will do and won't do based on what other men wrote down. I don't follow the dictates of other men and women in this realm, sir. I have a conscience connected to the Most High. Because you have nothing of value to say, sir. I could look at you and read you and tell you have nothing of value to say, sir. All I'm doing is mumbling, and you're ignoring everything I'm saying because your heart is pumping, but you cannot. Okay, I think we're done here, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate your.
We know our rights.
That's it.
Our rights are not going to be infringed upon. We have to be put in a cage, and so be it.
Okay, so let me
And then we're going to hold the people that.
And then you're going to give us your house and boat. Then you're going to give us your house and boat. That's the bottom line. You think you can do whatever you want to do. You're not interested in the regulations. No, I'm threatening that any man, not you, not.
I like what Denver Metro Audits and some of the other auditors say, and I'm going to attach myself to your pension for the rest of your life.
You, sir,
you're going to take my house.
any man or woman who interferes with our rights, I will take their house and boat.
How are you going to take my house?
I didn't say you. You have not interfered with my rights here
You
today.
come take my house.
Sir, please back away from me. I'm not talking about you personally.
Don't threaten me.
I didn't threaten you, sir. I said in the court of law.
Up to this point, I've been threatening you the entire time, but if you say that you're going to take my house and my boat if I infringe on your rights, we got some issues, bud.
In the court of law.
I'm done with you.
In the court of law. Listen.
Whoever, I come back here tomorrow.
Government's going to take everybody's house and boat soon.
Puts hands on me.
Yep.
Puts me in a cage. I will hold that person personally liable as a man in court.
Well, I'm advising you right now.
And there's no qualified immunity there either.
I'm telling you what's going to happen.
If I'm advising you right now.
And I'm not threatening anyone.
That's fine.
I'm
I'm advising you. I'm advising you right now. If you come back and you go through proper procedures, we're going to be directed to arrest you, and you are going to go to jail.
And if you follow those directives, we're going to take you to federal court as an individual man, not as an agent or agency. You will be held liable for interference of rights.
No, I'm not violating your rights. I'm telling you, you're more than welcome to come and obtain the documents that you want.
Under your condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're our God and our rights come from you, and you're going to dictate with weapons what we do.
And this is the psychopathy of government, guys. You have a whole bunch. It's not just the law enforcers. It's not just the politicians. It's not just the governors. It's the people who actually believe that these people have more rights than you, to the point where they can take your rights away, penalize you for exercising your rights, throw you into a cage, and make you lose all of your freedoms. That's what our problem is. It's this construct of belief. It's this cult of personality. It's this belief that the government death cult is in control of our every move, and we better comply or we're going to be punished.
And this man's going to shake his head because policy and procedure overrides law, and we're the idiots here. We're the idiots. Well, we'll see, sir. When they require you all to have vaccinations en masse and continue to slave everybody up, we'll see how you feel about what we're doing here in about 5 or 10 years. What does that do anything? It's because the corporate entities in this country are overriding law, and everybody's being subject to.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you don't want to hear. Every time he goes to interact, he turns away and walks away because he can't handle the truth.
You keep barking at him, dude.
I'm not barking at him. He gave me ego, sir. I would talk to you if you were respectful to me.
I'm trying to talk to you.
Okay, sure, no problem. I apologize because no, you have to understand, sir. This is not personal to me and you. I've dealt with this for months and months. I've been put in a cage over and over again for trying to uphold my rights. I have the case law. I have the Supreme Court. I'm tired of it. It's got nothing to do with you. I'm tired of guys with ego and attitude who think that their booklets override my God-given free choice and rights. I'm tired of it.
No, so you're thinking that the laws that we have in place here is trying to infringe on your rights?
Absolutely they are.
Why do you feel that way?
Because we have a Fourth Amendment freedom from search and seizure. Trying to search me to enter the people's courthouse is a violation of my rights. Trying to overthrow the law of the land for policy and procedure.
Why do you think these security measures are in place?
I'm not asking why they're in place. See, this is the jump everyone does. Your feelings don't matter to me.
My feelings
I have a right to bear arms. I have a right to freedom from search and seizure. Just because everyone's scared and wants to make everyone guilty to prove an innocent does not overthrow my rights.
No, there's a
I know there's a reason.
in having security.
Sure, but the fine line is our rights. When you cross that fine line, you're wrong. That's why they're called rights, because when you cross them, you're wrong.
So
Yep,
listen, when
exactly.
someone gets arrested and then they get searched, are we violating their rights?
If they're engaged in a crime which is defined by loss, injury, harm taking place, or a breach of a contract, absolutely not.
So, what? So if you're trespassing, aren't you breaking the law?
No. The owner never asked me to leave here, and I'm not trespassing. I'm refusing to be subjected to...
Why do you think we're here?
You're here because they have a belief that policies, procedures, codes, rules...
Is trespassing a law? Is it a law violation?
If the owner asks you to leave and you refuse to leave, the owner of this building never asked me to leave. The individual who's in legal control asked me to leave, and that's...
Mayor, you're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back.
And what's that for?
There
sir?
you go.
Hands behind your back.
There you go. Arrested for standing for rights, for arguing for your
Appreciate you
rights.
cooperating. Do you have any weapons on you that I don't know about? Okay.
You understand what we're doing here today, right, sir?
I do not, but I'm willing to talk to you.
Okay.
You want me to? I'm gonna put your phone in here. You recording
Can
this
you
right
just... Yeah, can you
now? I'll just keep it on in your pocket, okay?
Okay.
Let's pat him down, check to see if he has a weapon.
No good cops here. No good cops.
So now, are you the man who's
Yes.
engaging in the arrest now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we just had about 5
So I haven't decided whether I'm putting you in jail yet. So
Okay.
I'm gonna get your side of the story.
Sure.
But right now, it's not looking good for you. Okay.
Right now, it's not looking good for you. That was the Paul Unslaved channel. If you haven't subscribed to him, go over there and subscribe. He's got a lot of really good content. This guy knows his rights, and you should know your rights. If you don't know them, you're going to lose them. If you don't use them, they're gone. You're just like a muscle, they're going to atrophy. If you guys want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. One of the best things you can do to advance the cause of this channel is to hit that like button and share this video with everybody you know. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. And if you want to support the channel, the Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App, Subscribe Store, or grab one of these hard-hitting conversation starting designs you can put on any shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, whatever you want. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow banned video.